program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Ruth Ellen Sanchez, and let's go ahead and open up those Zoom room doors and let everybody in. We are a live show. And if you wanted to join us on Zoom, you could go to zoom.dailywithdoc.com and register and get in. All right, so today we have Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, and he is going to be talking about, I just had it up, blood pressure.
Did you forget already, Ruth Ellen?
I did. My screen went completely black. And I was like, what? I did. Isn't that terrible of me? Yeah. Let me bring you on. And of course, I have to say this. So this program is for educational purposes only. The content is not meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician, and the statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individuals' experiences of the individual. All right. Welcome to the screen, Pharmacist Ben. So we're talking today about blood pressure.
Yes.
And it's more than a number.
It is? What else? What do you mean? What else is it?
What else is it?
What else is it?
Well, it's a lot of things.
Like?
I mean, it goes with, oh boy. Okay. There are hidden signals by your body. So it's a reaction to that. Hidden signals from your body.
Like what kind of hidden signals?
Well,
I'm just teasing you. I'm totally teasing.
No,
I'm just playing. Just playing. No, just playing around. Just playing around. So what the heck's wrong with high blood pressure? Who cares? What's the big deal? High blood pressure. Do you know it's the #1 medical diagnosis? Pretty sure #1. It's in the top couple of medical diagnoses is hypertension, but it's not just hypertension. It's essential hypertension, right? And what does that mean, essential hypertension? What does the word essential mean? We always talk about it with like the essential nutrients, the Mighty 90 essential nutrients. What does the word essential mean? It comes from essence. It comes from essence.
Yeah, it's what you need to survive and be healthy.
No, not at all.
Okay.
An essential oil. What's an essential oil?
It is the essence of the plant. Yes.
It's the essence.
It's the essence. You are correct.
Right.
Yes.
It's an essence. So the essential oil is the essence of the plant, An essential nutrient is a nutrient that you absolutely have to have. Okay, so they're a little bit different when we talk about essential nutrients and essential oils. When we talk about essential hypertension or essential tremors, you ever hear that term, essential tremors? This is the medical model's way of saying it's just you. You know, you ever break up with somebody and say, hey, it's me. It's not you. It's about me. It's not you. That's what this is. It's about us. So the medical model wants us to think that, hey, it's just you. There's no reason for it. An essential issue is essentially, no pun intended, an issue that is just you. There's no reason for it. Now, you're a layperson, you're not a medical person, you're not a scientist necessarily, but does that make sense? That there's no reason for it?
No.
Of course not. Of course there's a reason. It's just laziness or ignorance. And I don't mean it on individual people. I'm talking about the paradigm or the model, okay? So we know everything has a reason. They call it essential hypertension. So what is the reason for hypertension? High blood pressure. Why would the pressure have to be high? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, when you have dirty blood, which is that's our number one pillar, our main pillar of chronic degenerative diseases, dirty blood, which is the cause of cellular disease, and all disease is cell disease. Dirty blood precedes cellular disease. When you have dirty blood, the blood doesn't move. It's sticky, it's sludgy. This is a compensatory mechanism that the body uses to keep toxins from being distributed, right? So viscosity and doctors will say hypercoagulable. I call it dirty blood. Hypercoagulable, that's the technical term. Hypercoagulable means it has a tendency to clot. It's leaning towards the clotting side of things. So when the blood is kind of thick and sludgy, dirty, hypercoagulable, whatever you want to say, it doesn't move as effectively. What is the blood doing under ordinary circumstances? It's feeding, delivering nutrients, it's oxygenating, delivering oxygen, it's electrifying, and it's removing toxins. So when the brain sees or reads, the brain's constantly reading the system. The brain is your central processor. It's constantly reading the chemistry of the body. When it notices that the organs aren't getting perfused, they're not getting enough oxygen, they're not getting enough nutrients, they're not being detoxified fast enough, it will turn up the pressure. So high blood pressure is a compensatory mechanism. It's an adaptive mechanism. It's a way that the body adjusts, or the brain adjusts, so that more pressure can get to the tissues. High blood pressure means that the garden hose is being turned up, right? The pressure is being turned up, so you get more pressure. Also, under conditions of duress, the body, or the adrenal glands in particular, will change the way the blood moves to get more pressure to the tissues, especially to the muscles, so you can run, theoretically. Because when you're under stress from a credit card bill, your body, you might as well be running from a saber-toothed tiger. So it wants to get more pressure to the leg. So it'll kind of clamp off, it'll squeeze things so the pressure gets higher. You squeeze a garden hose, it increases the pressure. When the garden hose opens, the pressure drops. Does that make sense? You following me? I'm looking at you because I don't have anybody else to look at. So I'm using you as an example. I'm using you as my icon. So high blood pressure is a compensation for stress and for dirty blood. Now, given the endemic situation where everybody has dirty blood because of leaky gut and because of the way we eat, and so many people are hypercortisol dealing with stress issues, it makes sense that essential hypertension or hypertension would be very common. So what's the problem? Sounds good. You get more pressure. What's the issue? The issue is the pressure, when it's really high, can damage the blood vessels. And it will particularly damage the capillaries. The capillaries are very tiny, they're microscopic, much thinner than a hair. And when you have an increase in pressure, that damages the capillaries. Damage to the capillaries will ultimately lead to lack of oxygen, lack of nutrition, lack of detoxification, all the things that the pressure was increased to prevent, especially where you have lots of tiny capillaries, the kidneys, the eyes, the extremities. All of those are where the capillaries were the most, it's capillaries everywhere, but the most common place is going to be the kidneys and the eyes and the extremities. So high blood pressure is very damaging to the capillaries. It's not just damaging to the capillaries. It also damages the lining of the blood vessels, all the blood vessels, not just the capillaries. For example, we've talked about this before, high blood pressure can damage the blood vessels around the heart. When you have damage to the blood vessels around the heart, the damaged tissue will send signals that recruits things to patch up the damage. This is really pretty amazing that the body has this kind of intelligence and responsiveness. So damage to the tissue, these are the vessels, will initiate chemistry that says, hey, we need some Band-Aids. We got to patch up the hole. We got to patch up the weakness. Well, the most common patch is cholesterol and calcium and plaques. Cholesterol, calcium, plaques are scabs, essentially, to kind of protect the weakened vessels. So high blood pressure is damaging to the vessels. It's compensatory. It's an adaptive mechanism, but it's damaging. So what do? What's the solution? Well, if you go to the doctor, if you go to the medical model, what they'll do is they'll do exactly the opposite of what the body's trying to do. That is force the vessels open. Well, the body is saying, hey, you want more pressure, not less pressure. You're doing exactly the opposite of what the body does. And the doctors will say, well, I don't care. We don't want to have any damage. And that gets us to the point where, and this is no knock on individual doctors. I hope nobody hears this. It's on the model. This gets us to the idea that doctors are not there to help us thrive. They're there to help us survive. So the doctors will say, yeah, well, we know we're going against the body, but we got to protect the capillaries, and we got to protect the heart, and we got to protect all the systems that are being affected by the high blood pressure. Yeah, we know we're going to drop the pressure, but this is serious stuff. And that's great because you want to survive. You can't thrive until you're surviving. But if you want to thrive, if you're interested in thrival, if you're interested in maximizing your quality of life, your energy, your resilience, your resistance to disease, everything that's good about being alive, you want to be in the thrival side, not the survival side. Yeah, the survival side is important. That's the minimum wage. You're not going to be able to thrive if you're not surviving, but are you satisfied with just surviving? Okay, fine. I'm just satisfied. All I care about is I just want to survive. I just want to make it. Fine. Go see a doctor because he'll help you. All right. But if you want to have energy, if you want to have resistance to disease, if you want to bolt out of bed in the morning and have a wonderful movement and be able to walk and touch your toes and do all the things that you want to do in life, that's not in the world of survival. That's in the world of thrival. And that is not a medical issue. And we don't get told that. So we think anytime there's a problem, we just go into the medical model. That's not the case. The medical model is for emergencies. It's for intervention that requires something right away. If we give them the job to help us survive or help us thrive, it's not going to work. So what's the problem with these drugs, these antihypertensives? You're forcing the body to do what it doesn't want to do, and you're forcing it sometimes in very, very powerful ways. Now, when they dose you or they medicate you for hypertension, they do it in stages because they recognize that this is a very important and very potentially dangerous process, manipulating the blood pressure. The blood pressure is tightly controlled. If the body regulates this super coherently and super vigilantly. So the medical model recognizes they do in stages. First thing it'll give you is the mildest antihypertensive type drug, and that's a diuretic. So how does a diuretic work? Well, it makes you go to the bathroom, makes you urinate, makes you lose water. So you say, what the heck's that got to do with pressure? Well, the less water you have in the blood, the less pressure there's going to be against the vessels because the water expands the blood. So the less water you have, the less pressure you're going to have in the vessel, the less pressure you're going to have against the vessels. But of course, that has its own problems because now your blood is concentrated. And if you have sugar issues, now your blood sugar is concentrated. Now you're going to have issues with sugar. And by the way, sugar is very damaging to the vessel walls as well. And this is why hypertension and diabetes go hand in hand. And also why diabetes and kidney disease go hand in hand because of all the vascular implications of too much sugar and too much insulin for that matter. So, I forgot to mention, one other reason why hypertension occurs is by rapid cell division inside the vessel caused by insulin. So when we have elevated insulin, such as you experience in metabolic syndrome, hyperinsulinemia, too much insulin in the blood vessels tend to become stenotic. They stenosis. The cells divide, and that narrows everything. That also increases the pressure. So diabetes and hyperinsulinemia are part and parcel with hypertension. So when you lose water from the blood contracts, doesn't have as much volume. The blood volume decreases, and that drops the pressure. Interestingly, that's the mildest of the antihypertensives. But it's not so mild because now you're got your blood is contracted. It doesn't have as much fluidity to it. And one of the problems in the first place was the sticky, sludgy, dirty blood. Now you got less fluidity. On top of that, the way the diuretics work, they don't just magically reduce fluid. They reduce fluid by changing the mineral balance in the blood. They affect minerals. So now you're dealing with mineral issues. Now you're dealing with contracted blood. Now you change the way the body, you've defeated the purpose of what the body is trying to accomplish. And this is the mildest of the diuretics. If that doesn't work, they go to the next step, and those are the blockers, the beta blockers. And those drugs work at the neural level. They work at the neural level of the heart, the neural level of the blood vessels, and they neurologically force either the heart to slow down to drop the pressure, or the blood vessels to expand to drop the pressure. And they compel the pressure to drop neurologically. And then finally, there's a super powerful antihypertensive that just jack open the vessels. All of which is to say that if you interact medically for something that's a lifestyle issue, there is going to be a price to pay. You're forcing the body to do what it doesn't want to do. You're changing the way the blood moves. You're losing minerals, not to mention the fact that your body now has to detoxify all these prescription drugs that you're taking. So now you're going to deal with nutritional deficiencies. And there's no way to beta block just the vessels. You're beta blocking the entire system. You're suppressing the neurology of the entire body. So it's just a big mess for something that we don't need to be medicalized for. So what do you do? Well, first of all, what's the cause? The main cause is the dirty blood. So let's work on the dirty blood. Let's fluidize the blood. Let's clean the blood. That's probably the most important strategy. And I know we have to have topics and everything on the program, but I'm always saying the same darn thing.
That's okay.
You clean the blood.
Yeah.
How do you clean the blood? First of all, you stop putting the toxins in the blood, and that means patching up a leaky gut and changing the way you eat, correcting the microbiome. If you want products, the Daily Digest, the Ultimate Enzymes, the Nightly Essence, Fuchs Z, collagen peptides. These are all wonderful. I said Ultimate Enzymes. These are all wonderful nutritional supplemental strategies for helping the digestive system work more effectively. Secondly, because the blood sugar is also a problem, because glycation, as the candying of the blood vessels, damages the vessels. Insulin causes the cells of the vessels to become the vessels themselves to become stenotic as the cells divide really rapidly. So you work on your blood sugar, and that means the sweeties and a healthy blood sugar pack, and going ketogenic, and reducing your calories, and changing the way you eat, in terms of high carbohydrate and sugary foods. And then if you want to throw in some extra supplements, Ultimate MSM, Ultimate Niacin, Ultimate Selenium, Fuchs Z, which by the way is also important for blood sugar and for the blood vessels themselves, not only for the digestive system. So all of these are supplemental strategies for reducing sugar, for thinning the blood, reducing the sugar content of the blood and lowering your insulin. And then third of all, you work on the stress levels and cortisol. You could do that by using nutritional supplements for the adrenal glands, like the de-stress. You could meditate, you can breathe, you can get enough rest, you can just relax your body, muscle relaxation. The beautiful thing about all of these strategies is that we can do them ourselves. You don't have to go to the doctor. You don't have to go to the pharmacy. You could do all of this yourself. The other beautiful thing about this is instead of having toxic side effects, you add years to your life, because now you're going to improve the functioning of all of your organs, including your adrenals, including your kidneys, including your heart, and of course, including the blood vessels. And this is kind of, when I say it, I'm sure it makes sense. It has to be. It's just logical.
It does.
But it's a mindset. It's this mindset. And that's really what we're talking about here. It's the mental nature. It's our thought processes. And the problem is that our brains are economical. Our brains don't like to think about things. They like to operate in shortcuts. Computers, brain's kind of like a computer, and in the world of computers, there's a word called heuristics, Heuristics, I think it's spelled. Heuristics. Heuristics are shortcuts that computers take. Well, the brain does heuristics too. It wants to take shortcuts. It doesn't want to expend energy. It's economical. It tries to conserve energy, and so if it has a shortcut, it'll take a shortcut. And we have created a culture where there's lots of mental shortcuts. That's what commercials are about. That's what jingles are about. That's what memes are about. That's what these little little tiny ideas that get inoculated into the culture that we all tend to believe. Oh, I'm sick, I go to the doctor. Oh, I have a high blood pressure, I have to take a diuretic or a beta blocker. These are ideas that are inoculated into the culture, not for us, but for the inoculator. We have a word for things that are inoculated into us or into the culture that aren't in our interest, but are in the interest of the inoculator. We call those viruses. A virus is a biological virus, the kind everybody talks about, everybody thinks about. Biological virus is a virus that is a little piece of information. Kind of interesting. Very few people really understand what viruses are. They're just little pieces of information. In the case of a biological virus, they're DNA, sometimes RNA. And this DNA will insert itself into your DNA. Viral DNA will insert itself into your DNA, and that way your DNA will make it the virus. Really interesting and insidious. The virus inserts itself into your genetics, using your genetics as a little factory for making more copies of the virus. The key point is the virus doesn't care about you. The virus just wants to replicate. Viruses don't care about you. Another example of a virus is an information virus. Is the kind of virus that you get in your computer that goes into your contact list and sends itself out to all of your contacts and ruins your hard drive. You think the virus cares about your hard drive? No, it just wants to propagate. Viruses don't care about the vector. The vector is the transmitter. Viruses don't care about the vector. They just want to spread. So you have viruses in your computer. You got viruses in your body. Well, you also have viruses in your mind. Those are called mind viruses, or technically memes. Viruses, they don't care about you. The inoculator just wants to spread the virus, whether it's McDonald's hamburgers or whether it's Keytruda or whether it's prescription, metformin or whatever it is. So we get inoculated with these viruses, and because our brains are heuristic based and economical, they just buy into it. And that's the real problem, because as I explain this, it has to make sense. What I just said, so why are we just changing the way we eat and supporting our digestive health and our blood sugar health and our adrenal health and relaxing years to our life? Our blood pressure will naturally drop. Why aren't we doing it? It's because we have been infected, inoculated by viruses. And that's how you want to look at it. Now, as far as lowering your blood pressure on your own, simple. It's easy. First, you clean the blood, as I say, digestive health, blood sugar health. But there's also vasodilators you could use. Magnesium is a wonderful vasodilator, and magnesium deficiency is very common. Niacin or vitamin B3 is such a powerful vasodilator that if you take too much, you get what? The niacin flush.
Yes.
That's a
I had that happen the other day.
Yes, that's a classic example of a vasodilation. You're feeling the heat. You're feeling the blood. Blood is hot. Blood is warm. And so you're feeling it in your ears. You're feeling it in your extremities because everything's opening up, but that's telling you that it's dropping the blood pressure. One of my favorite ways to drop the blood pressure is to relax the body. There's a phenomenon known as white coat hypertension. Have you heard of this? White coat hypertension?
Yes,
White coat hypertension is high blood pressure that people get when the doctor walks in the office because they get freaked out. That shows you the relationship between being freaked out and having high blood pressure. So relaxing. One of the all-time great, easy ways to lower your blood pressure is to take a warm bath. Warm water vasodilates. It opens everything up. In fact, hot water or even warm water vasodilates so much that if you take a bath or you're in a hot tub and you stand up too quickly, what happens? You get all woozy, you get all dizzy because you're not getting enough blood to your brain. So just warm water will do it. That's why I make a joke all the time, but I'm not really joking. I say, vote for me for president, and you don't need health care. You just get a hot tub in your backyard, and that activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Government gives everybody a hot tub and 2 massages a week for your tax dollars. Forget health care. You don't need health care. You need to activate the relaxation nervous system, i.e. the parasympathetic nervous system. So high blood pressure is the manifestation, the end result of dirty blood, adrenal duress, activated sympathetic nervous system, a lack of fluidity in the blood, damage to the blood vessels. It's not essential. It's not part of you. It's a sign that the body is breaking down. It's a sign that something's wrong, and it's very, very easy to fix non-medically. That being said, if you have crazy hypertension, get on a beta blocker, do what you need to do, and gradually use your niacin, use your B complex, use your magnesium. Use your MSM. Use anti-glycating supplements, anti-sugaring supplements. Use nutritional strategies, and then gradually wean yourself off of your antihypertensive medicine. And last thing I'll say is the relationship between nutrition and antihypertensive medication is a classic case of nutrients helping your drugs work better. In other words, when you start using nutritional supplements to lower your blood pressure, you will gradually be able to lower your beta blocker dose, your calcium channel blocker dose, your antihypertensive, diuretic, whatever it is. You'll be able to gradually lower the dose. In fact, if you've never supplemented before and you're on, say, a beta low pressor, whatever beta blocker you're on, metoprolol, as you start taking the magnesium and as you start taking your B complex and as you start taking your niacin, et cetera, guess what's in your essential fatty acids, your omega-3 essential fatty acids? You're going to notice that your blood pressure drops too much. And that's when you want to tell your doctor what you're doing. You always want to work with your physician. Tell them, hey, I'm using nutritional supplements. Keep an eye on my blood pressure. And as your blood pressure drops from your nutritional supplements and your beta blocker, you'll be able to wean yourself off your beta blocker. So nutrients helping your drugs work better is the relationship between nutrition and antihypertensives is a classic example of nutrients helping your drugs work more effectively. Reduce adrenal duress, reduce blood sugar intake, protect the intestinal lining from leaky gut, and work with dirty blood as a subsequent symptom of leaky gut. What are we talking about here? Digestion, blood sugar, adrenals, a triangle of disease, the 3 points of bodily breakdown that you want to focus on that underlie all health challenges. And it's as simple as that. And by the way, oxygen is also a fluidizer, blood fluidizer, and vasodilator. So you want to make sure that you're practicing your slow, deep, rhythmic breathing, respiration.
Yes, you do. You want to make sure you do that because it's very relaxing too.
Yes, it's very relaxing. Exactly. All right.
All right. So we do have a question. We have a hand up. So
yeah, let's have a hand up. AJ, raise his hand. Hi, AJ.
And if you're on Zoom and you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand and then we can call on you. So I'm going to. All right, let's bring him on and he needs to unmute. Can you unmute yourself, AJ?
There we go. I can do that. Pharmacist Ben.
Yes.
I'm very angry. I want to save my ire for Monday because I don't.
Ire.
Oh, I got some ire. Whatever ire.
Irie.
Tons of it.
I used to have a friend who used to say Irie when he thought something was good. Irie. Yes, ire. What are you Irish about? And funny, you don't look Irish.
Yeah, no, but I've been to some Kayleys.
Okay, all right. What's going on, AJ? Good to see you.
So, we do have a question on YouTube that I'm going to ask.
Okay.
But I'm upset.
Upset? You're upset or they're upset?
I'm upset.
Okay.
I told you a long time ago.
Okay.
People are listening to what we say.
Uh-oh.
In particular, what you say.
Okay.
And they're copying.
What do you mean copying?
Like mimicking.
Okay.
Stealing, biting your style. And
yeah,
biting. Right. Yes, you're from New York, so you know this term, biting.
No, I don't know that term. That's a new one.
Oh, okay.
They're biting. Okay, they're imitating. Okay, what's the deal?
Okay, yes, imitating. And so I'm watching MeTV. This is a television channel for older Americans.
Okay, I qualify.
So we'll only be showing like Bonanza and Green Acres and Leave It to Beaver and these types of things.
All right.
And there's a drug commercial that comes on for older adults. And they're talking about the drug. And they say, yeah, this drug is not for you to just survive. It's
really?
You thrive.
Oh, the drug is going to help you thrive. All right.
And the woman comes on and says, and I feel like I'm thriving.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. What's the drug?
You know what? I didn't have.
See if you get a name of the drug. I'd like to see it, or send me a link. I'd like to see the commercial.
When I find it, I will be sure.
All right. All right. Well, don't let it get to you. That's just the world we live in. By the way, I just remembered something. when you have surgery, they when they cut you open on the operating table, to your body, the body doesn't recognize the operating table. It thinks you just got eaten by a lion or tiger or a saber-toothed tiger or whatever. So it will clot the blood. Surgeries clot the blood. And that's why, what do they give you after surgery? They give you heparin, right? Because heparin thins the blood, makes the blood move more effectively. Fucoidin is nature's heparin. So Fucoid Z is another great antihypertensive blood fluidizer, nature's heparin. And I forgot to mention that. Okay, but go ahead. Did you have a question, or is that
Couple questions?
Yes.
Dylan, is it true that calcium can only be absorbed 500 milligrams at a time? Should we divide the Osteo-fx?
I don't know the number of milligrams at a time, but there's a certain, I'm sure there's a limit to it. And you also want to use your magnesium with calcium and vitamin D with calcium. I assume he means through the intestine. When you talk about absorption, there's absorption through the intestine into the blood, and then there's absorption from the blood into the cells. So I'm assuming he means the first place, through the intestine into the blood. And there's probably a limit on how much will get absorbed. I don't know the number, to tell you the truth. It's always well, let me just say this real quick. It's always a good idea to take your supplements in divided doses. The ultimate in divided doses is liquids. And like sip, that's why I always say to sip on your Beyond Tangy Tangerine all day long. That's the ultimate in divided doses. But with tablets, you can't really do that. So, try to dose yourself more frequently rather than all at once to compensate or to adjust for what Dylan said. I don't know what the number is, whether it's 500 milligrams or 450 milligrams or 550 milligrams. I don't know the number. I suspect it's going to be different for everybody. But the general point is well taken, and that is you want to make sure it's always best to divide the doses up so that you don't overwhelm the absorption sites where these nutrients get absorbed and then lose the value of your supplements. Also, as I say, it's important to take calcium with vitamin D, or at least have enough vitamin D present, because vitamin D is important for escorting calcium into the blood through the intestine and also into the cells.
Okay, fantastic. Beagle Mom is dealing with SIBO.
Okay. So Beagle Mom, that's awesome name. I assume because you have beagles. I love beagles. Somebody's knocking on my door here. Yeah, hello? Somebody's knocking on my door as I'm doing the show here. So Beagle Mom says a SIBO. She's dealing with SIBO. I-26. That's your anti-SIBO nutrient. That's your anti-SIBO nutritional supplement. I-26.
And then Dylan was telling her about some Dr. Janelle.
Hang on a second. Yeah, I'm in the middle of something here, okay? Somebody's trying to talk to me. I don't know what he's saying. Go ahead.
And then Dr. Janelle is then saying she's got a protocol that uses MSM, high-dose MSM. It's got licorice. What did I say here?
Licorice root.
Wait, I believe so.
Is this for SIBO?
This is for SIBO. MSM, slippery elm, and marshmallow gum. Marshmallow.
And this is a physician or herbalist? Who is Dr. Janelle?
A naturopath in Canada.
Is she on the call?
She's not on the call.
Okay, so does she work with longevity, or is this just off the internet?
Off the internet.
Okay, so let me explain all those three. Mallow or marshmallow is very soothing for the intestine. It's slimy stuff is very soothing for the intestine. Marshmallow has a slimy nature to it. And then what was the other two? MSM. I don't know how MSM probably, the sulfur probably is important for the connective tissue, I would imagine. But none of these are going to really affect the bacteria. SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, is the end result of bacteria that are accumulating in the small intestine versus the large intestine. The small intestine is not supposed to have a lot of bacteria in it. Why do you suppose that's the case? Why do you want most of your bacteria in the large intestine versus the small intestine? Because the small intestine has food in it. And bacteria love food as much as we do. So when you have food and you have bacteria, you got proliferation of bacteria. So bacteria should not be in the small. There's some, but most of the bacteria should be in the large intestine. When you have bacteria in the small intestine, a lot of bacteria in the small intestine, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you run into all kinds of health challenges. And in fact, I would venture to say pretty much all chronic disease has some element of SIBO in it. So killing off those bacteria is an important strategy. And in fact, these days, they used to laugh about it. They used to say it was silly. It was like psychosomatic, you know? Oh, it's all in your head. Well, nowadays, they know that SIBO is an important cause of health challenges, and they'll give you antibiotics. Well, of course, that further messes things up, but, you know, that's just the medical strategy. I-26 will kill off the good bacteria or the bad bacteria without affecting the good bacteria. That's your main strategy. Then there are foods called the FODMAPs foods. I don't know if we talked about those. Fermentable. They're fermentable foods, mushy fruits, I should say. You know, things like pears and apples, dried fruits, raisins, those kinds of things. They will also feed those bacteria. So if you're eating foods and you bloat pretty quickly after you eat the foods, you're gassy and bloaty. Takes probably about 4, 5, 6 hours for foods to get into the small intestine. If you eat something and then a few hours later, you're starting to bloat, pretty much you got SIBO. You can pretty much rest assured. They can actually test SIBO by doing a breath test. And they'll actually test your breath for bacterial outgassings. And that's one of the main ways that they test for SIBO. But if you just bloat after meals, pretty much you assume you have SIBO. Or eat a bunch of FODMAPs foods, a bunch of okra or pears, and see what happens if you really want to go that route. But if you're bloaty after foods, pretty much you can rest assured you've got some kind of SIBO issue. Not 100%. There's other things that can do it, but that's a good sign. So I-26 is really, you want to kill the bacteria with I-26. And then I don't know about that, Dr. Janelle. You said licorice and marshmallow. Those can have some soothing properties. And then also MSM might help the intestinal lining, but it's not going to do anything for the bacteria.
Okay, so Dylan is one of us, but apparently he really likes this Dr. Janelle. Okay. Says high doses of MSM have an antibacterial and antifungal effect. She theorized that it works because most people are now sulfur deficient. And Beagle Mom, to get the I-26, just give us a call at 855-949-3377 or go to dailywithdoc.com. But it's better that you do speak to someone. Beagle Mom says she loves beagles and has slow transit. And I guess Pharmacist Ben has got to deal with.
Hey.
Yes. Beagle Mom says she has slow transit.
Slow transit? Okay. So that's a little bit different. Slow transit means she's clogged up. So one of the things that happens when you're eating the wrong foods is your intestines will freeze up. Your bowels will freeze up. And that can cause sluggish bowels. Nutrient deficiencies, particularly neurological activating nutrients, can also cause a sluggish bowel. And one of the best ways to protect against that is vitamin B1, thiamine. There's, we talk about I can't, right? Thiamine deficiency, beriberi, I can't. Well, there's GI beriberi, gastrointestinal beriberi, gastrointestinal, I can't. So vitamin B1 deficiency will cause constipation, sluggish bowels, neurologically speaking. So using your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which has got a really high dose of B1 in it. There's a couple other longevity supplements. You're going to send me that list, AJ, with all the brand names and supplements.
I was planning to do it before the show.
That's all right. When you get a chance, send it. So vitamin B1, and then also there's a neuromuscular kind of propulsion mechanism in the intestine called the migrating motor complex, right? The MMC. Good. The migrating motor complex propels food through your digestive tract and out your body. The migrating motor complex becomes sluggish, slows down when we eat. Why would that be? Why would the migrating motor complex, this neuromuscular propulsion mechanism, slow down when we eat? What's the logic there?
Energy's got to be used to process the food.
Not quite. You want to be able to extract the nutrients from the food. If everything's moving through too fast, you're not going to get the nutrients out of the food. So food slows everything down so the body has an opportunity to extract the nutrients. That means the less you eat or when you take time off from food, that activates the migrating motor complex. And by the way, I know I've said it before, but I think it's really interesting. We know the migrating motor complex. We've all heard it. The migrating motor complex sounds like a rumbling in your tummy. That's the migrating motor complex. So when you stop eating for a few hours or a day, you eat breakfast and you don't eat till 6 o'clock at night, and you feel rumbling in your tummy, what do you think you're hearing? You're hearing your body clean itself out. You're hearing propulsion. You're hearing the food being propelled out the digestive tract and out your body. But what do we do when we hear the rumbling in our tummy? We immediately shut off the propulsion. We immediately eat. Yeah. Exactly. We do exactly the opposite of what our body's trying to do. And then this is why, by the way, people notice when they don't eat for a day, they have an incredible bowel movement. Have you ever noticed that when you fast? Like you get this incredible, you're like, what the heck just happened? I didn't eat. That's your body cleaning itself out. So when you, the three elements there that I'm talking about are, number one, the intestines freezing due to the wrong kinds of food. Number two, GI beriberi. And then number three, overeating or chronic eating. They used to tell you to eat all day. Remember? They don't say it anymore. But when I was a kid and up until about 20 years ago, they would say snack or graze. Yeah,
graze.
Right, graze.
Just graze throughout the day.
Just graze like you're a cow. Just graze, right? No, you don't just graze. You want to eat once a day, or maybe twice, but you don't want to graze. You want to give your body lots of time, your digestive system lots of time to just relax. Just give it a chance to process the food that's in there. So as far as moving things along, there's lots of things you could do to move things along. As the aforementioned vitamin B1 can help. Fiber is really important. Also, but if you have SIBO, you gotta be a little bit careful with fiber because the bacteria can eat the fiber and proliferate. You be a little bit careful with fiber. Magnesium is a laxative. It opens everything up. Vitamin C can help open everything up. Fucoid Z might help. What else? What else is anti-constipating? You could go the herbal route with Senna or the stool softening route with DocuSate, and of course, elimination diet. If you can eliminate specific foods that cause the digestive system freeze up, that will help. Constipation is extremely, extremely important to address because when you're constipated, not only do toxins get into the blood, they get basically pushed into the blood, but also when you're constipated, if you're a woman, estrogen becomes more potent, and estrogen can wreak havoc on the body in terms of cancer and fibromyalgia and aches and pains and infertility and dysmenorrhea problems with your menstrual cycle. There's a whole bunch of problems associated with estrogen, and constipation can lead to estrogen issues. Also, Parkinson's disease is associated with constipation. So constipation is something that really needs to be addressed. And if you're not having regular bowel movements, and there's no really way to know what regular is, everybody's going to be different, but you want to make sure that you're having bowel movements 6, 8, 10 hours after a meal for sure. That's something that you want to address.
Okay, excellent. All right, we do have another hand up. And Albert, I'm going to bring you on screen. And then we have a couple other questions and comments.
Yes.
How are you, Pharmacist Ben?
Hello, Albert. Good to see you.
Okay. A question came up. We're talking about blood pressure. What would someone need to do if they've got low blood pressure?
Low blood pressure. Low. That's the exact opposite. Usually that involves a blood protein called albumin. And that's a sign that maybe the liver's not producing enough of this blood protein. Albumin is important for kind of pulling water into the blood to increase the volume. So I would consider that to be a liver condition. And nobody just has low blood pressure. Remember our triangulation idea, or Bob Ross idea? So you want to look for multiple points. So low blood pressure is 1 point. That doesn't tell you anything. That's a dot on your painting. That's not going to give you any information. You have multiple points. I would suspect whenever there's low blood pressure, the first thing I would think of is a liver problem, but I want to hear what else is going on.
Okay. Yeah. Because at times you get asked that question, what do I do for low blood pressure?
Low blood pressure, what do I do? What do I do is kind of an interesting question. There's not like, what do I do? It's not like a one-to-one relationship. Do this, blood pressure goes away. Remember this for that. You got to work on the whole system. However, that being said, typically there's going to be a liver problem. So is this person on YouTube or are they here?
No.
Okay. I'd want a lot more information about what's going on. And then to answer the what do I do, it would be based on the information that I got.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Pharmacist Ben.
Yes.
Thank you.
In South Africa will say buy a donkey.
What's that?
Sorry.
Buy a donkey.
Buy a donkey.
That's South Afrikaans.
Is that a South African joke?
Okay. No, it's thank you. And
right? Oh, but what is that? Buy a donkey means thank you?
Yes.
No, does it really?
Thank you very much. Yes, it does.
Not buy a donkey, but you mean buy a donkey? What's the word?
Buy a donkey means thank you very much.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right, buy a donkey.
Thank you, Albert.
Right.
Thank you, Albert.
Right. Thanks, Pharmacist Ben.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. And then I had a question. I was hoping that it would be put somewhere for me to find them easily. Nicola, I'm not sure if I said that right. So if I didn't, I'm sorry. It says my renin activity is high.
My renin activity is high?
Yeah, and that's all that it says.
Well, again, that has to do with other things. Remember, we have a dot. Does that make sense when I say a dot in the middle of the canvas? You need multiple dots. All I got is one dot. I can't really help you. But that being said, if you know,
well, let's see if Nicole will
is she on the call?
Unmute. So she can, or they can ask the question. Can you unmute? Nicole? I think it's Nicole.
Okay, so what is renin is a kidney hormone or a kidney. I'm not sure if it's a hormone or not, but it's a kidney molecule. I think it might be a hormone. Renin is made in the kidneys, and when the blood pressure or when the kidney reads a low blood pressure. Remember, the kidney is filtering the blood, so the blood's running through the kidney. When the pressure drops, the kidney senses that and will activate the renin system. The renin system increases the blood pressure. So she said high renin or low renin?
It's high.
High renin to me, and I'd want to know about the other hormones like aldosterone, which is another hypertensive hormone. But high renin could have to do with adrenal problems, or it could happen when you have dehydration or using diuretics. Heart failure can cause it. Reduced circulation, low circulation is your main sign of high renin, unless there's also low aldosterone, and that's another factor. So that tells us that she's not perfused. She's not perfusing the kidneys. What would cause the blood to not move through the kidneys effectively, other than dehydration or diuretics?
Sticky blood.
Exactly.
Dirty blood.
Dirty blood. Exactly. So I would ask this person, what else is going on? Remember, this is just a dot in the middle of the canvas. I have to guess. I don't want to have to guess.
No,
you know, I want to know what else is going on. But renin is released by the kidneys when it's not getting when the kidneys are not getting perfused. So that tells me there's not enough blood flowing through the kidney, which implicates dirty blood.
Thank you.
So, but I'd want to know more from that patient before I, went off and to the guess. Are there digestive problems? Are there blood sugar problems? Are there weight problems? Are there other signs of metabolic syndrome, etc.?
Right. Thank you. And then Patrick has a question of what products are available. This is off topic for bipolar disorder and schizophrenic episodes.
Okay. So I'm always a little bit hesitant to treat psychiatric issues, and schizophrenia is a psychiatric issue, probably bipolar is too, nutritionally. But that being said, there's a lot you can do. I know I've told this story before, but it's a cool story. I used to get a juice at this health food store here in Boulder every morning, and there was a schizophrenic guy who would hang out at the health food store, Craig, and Craig he was just a typical. He was a nice guy, but he was off, put it that way. And every time I'd walk in there, he'd go, "Hi, Ben," and have this funny way of talking, and he would always be carrying a big 64-ounce cup of Coke with him. And he would be all schizo and talking weird. And he was just a nice guy, but he was all disjointed and incoherent. And I go, "Hey, Craig, what's going on?" Blah, blah, blah. And then one day I got to talking to him as best as I could. And he's like, "Ben, they make me take this medicine and I hate the medicine and I don't want to take the medicine." And so I said, "All right, let's do this." And I took him over to the salad bar and I bought him a salad. except I did a lot of protein in the salad. I put eggs in there and garbanzo beans along with veggies. I made him a nice big salad, and he ate the salad, and almost immediately he was like not 100% clear, but he was better just by eating the salad. I was like, all right. And I was just going to do a little experiment. And every morning when I get my juice, I buy him a little salad, buy Craig a little salad. And pretty soon he was like almost 100% normal, and he wasn't drinking his Coke anymore. That was the most amazing thing to see. And it made me realize how much of his mental health issues were based on what he was eating and what he was drinking. This was like 25, 30 years ago. I wasn't as knowledgeable about these kinds of things as I am now. And it dawned on me that there was this major relationship between the kind of foods people eat and their mental health. And then I didn't see Craig. I stopped going for some reason. I stopped going to Alfalfa's, to the health food store. And I didn't go for a couple of weeks or a month or so. And I came in one day. There was Craig again with his big old cup of Coca-Cola. And he had his old schizophrenic way of talking. Hey, Ben, blah, blah, blah. And it just dawned on me that there was this incredibly important relationship between the brain and the foods we're eating. And by the way, I've worked in many mental hospitals, and schizophrenics love candy. They love their sugar. And so there's a serious connection between the two. And that being said, while I hate to really nutritionally treat psychiatric issues, there's a lot you can do. Dr. Abram Hoffer, who's considered to be the father of orthomolecular medicine. Orthomolecular means good molecule, and orthomolecular medicine is basically nutritional medicine, where they use nutrition where other healthcare practitioners use drugs. And Abram Hoffer, his claim to fame was using niacin, vitamin B3, to treat schizophrenia, and he did it very successfully. And there's a lot of literature that talks about schizophrenics being heavy smokers. And smoking, we know, is nicotine, which is not exactly niacin, not exactly vitamin B3, but it's close. So niacin is your anti-schizophrenic, and I'm not going to say bipolar, although it wouldn't be a bad idea to try it, vitamin. Also, zinc is very important. Dr. Carl Pfeiffer used to use zinc to treat schizophrenia. So zinc is another mineral, another nutrient that's important for psychotic disorders. NAC might help, N-acetylcysteine might help. Vitamin C, of course, is always going to be important for everything. Vitamin E can be important for brain health, especially for keeping the brain stable. GABA might help, GABA, and there's GABA in our sleep gummies have GABA in there. In fact, melatonin, now that I think about it, that might be helpful also. And then as far as bipolar goes, lithium orotate. Lithium is really, that's the treatment of choice for bipolar disorders, and Doc Wallach's been talking about that one for years. You can get lithium either as a prescription or at the health food store, which is kind of interesting. You can get it both ways because it's one of those nutrients that is so effective, even the pharmacomedical model recognizes it and uses it as a prescription drug, even though it's just a mineral, just an element, one of the mighty 90 essential nutrients, and you can get that at a health food store too.
Perfect. Thank you. And always the 90.
And the 90, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think we have any straight lithium though, do we?
It's just in the plant-derived minerals.
It's in the plant-derived minerals, right?
Yeah, so anything with the plant-derived minerals has that. Yeah. All right, so I have a question. AJ has his hand up, and you have a hard stop. So.
Yep, I have a hard stop.
All right, so Julio sent me 2 messages. I'm going to kind of divide them up. So first, and he says that he is so grateful for your existence on this planet.
Well, that's very sweet.
He loves you. He loves you.
Thank you, Leah.
And so he has a question. So he says a dirty house needs to be cleaned up, and dirty inside body needs to clean up. Detox. It's a little broken up. I'm sorry. And common sense is, so the question is, what can we do to wake up people massively? And then fasting is best. He agrees with you on that. And then the other part of the question is, and I think those are more comments than question. It's someone has menopause due to is menopause due to an imbalance in the nervous system, stress, dirty blood, lack of nutrients, or all of the above? She compares herself with her other siblings who are not getting hot flashes or symptoms like she is having.
I'm not understanding. Are you asking what you can do for menopausal symptoms?
Yeah. Is it something other than a hormone
your periods are going to stop. You're going to stop dropping eggs.
It's
That's
your
not
body.
that's your body. You're not that's not a sickness or a disease. That's just a cycle of life, right? However, the symptoms that women experience, the menopausal misery, that doesn't have to happen. Menopausal misery meaning, and I don't need, I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to, not going to play one on TV, but you know more about it than I do.
I do. It happens.
Hot flashes, night sweats, anxiety, weight gain, redness, skin redness, etc. Those don't have to happen. Menopause has to happen, but the symptoms that people have are usually due to some kind of metabolic imbalance. In blood sugar. In fact, many of the signs of menopause, many of the symptoms of menopause are symptoms of hypoglycemia and excess cortisol. So blood sugar has to be addressed. Another thing is the molecule histamine. Histamine is associated with almost all menopausal symptoms. Histamine is produced by cells mostly in the intestine, but also in other places like the skin, for example. And mast cell instability, or what they say degranulation, if you will, that can be associated with eating the wrong foods. So you got to be careful with the foods you're eating. And if you have things like leaky gut or SIBO, all of those can predispose you towards histamine and menopausal symptoms. There are also natural antihistamines that you can use. There's one called DAO, diamine oxidase, that you can use. Vitamin C, of course, is a wonderful antihistamine. Melatonin has got antihistaminic properties. Zinc has antihistaminic properties. So you can go the antihistamine route, correct for food issues. And again, this has to do with the whole, the multiple points of bodily breakdown. We got menopausal symptoms, but what else is going on? And then the blood sugar issues, treat yourself like a diabetic, even if you haven't been diagnosed as a diabetic. Use all the diabetic nutrients, the sweeties, and ultimate niacin, and Fuchs Z, everything we talked about. Don't forget your I-26 because there may be an element of SIBO. Also notice that your menopausal symptoms will increase with certain foods and eliminate those foods. Wine and cheese and chocolate are all high histamine foods. And what do menopausal women love?
Chocolate.
Wine and cheese and chocolate. It's not just menopausal women, but it seems to be that, menopausal women really love that wine and cheese and chocolate. So see if you notice a link between the foods and the menopausal symptoms. And then your ultimate EFAs are extremely important for all female health issues, particularly menopausal symptoms. So Mighty 90 essential nutrients, focus on the ultimate EFAs or ultimate EFA plus. Ultimate EFA plus, yeah. And then work on digestive health, reduce your intake of histamine type foods. If you have any, if you're eating foods that trigger histamine or high histamine foods, you got to be careful of those. And then stabilize your blood sugar. Use the healthy blood sugar pack, keep your sugar down, add in nutrients like the Fuchs Z and the ultimate niacin and the ultimate selenium, all of which can support blood sugar control. And of course, reduce your intake of blood sugar spiking foods.
Perfect.
And there's no medication. Oh, one more thing. Progesterone, not estrogen, progesterone and not fake progesterone, real progesterone. There's fake progesterone. Sometimes you get prescriptions for it. Real progesterone has a calming effect, and it can be very, very effective for, particularly for night sweats and hot flashes.
Yeah. And that's in Women's FX.
Is there really progesterone in there, or is there the herbs?
It's wild yam.
Wild yam. Yeah, wild yam. Women's FX. That's right.
Yeah, Women's FX, which is a liquid. All right. So Patrick, who asked a question about the schizophrenia and bipolar, says, Ben, thank you for the information regarding mental health issues. You were spot on with the description of habits of acute mental health issues.
I'm not sure I understood that, but I appreciate the compliment.
Well, you were talking about the food and giving him the salad, and then he stopped drinking the soda.
Right.
AJ has had his hand up.
AJ.
So he's going to be our last question.
All right. So I'm just going to get to cut to the chase of the question.
Yeah.
Are there better alternatives to having nucleus injecting in the blood to determine whether or not you have Parkinson's?
I'm not quite understand the question, but you don't need to determine. You just look for shaking.
Okay, so the 69-year-old friend has tremors in the right leg and arm, and skull receding bone on the right side of the head.
Parkinson's is just a name. You don't have to worry about the name. It's just a term. That's a diagnosis. You don't need to worry about it. He's got tremors, whether you call it Parkinson's or whether you call it AJ. You call it anything you want to call it. It doesn't matter what you call it. That's not the point. That's kind of funny, though. It's sort of ironic. They want to test to see if he has the name. They know he has the tremors, but now they want to test to see if he has the name. And that's what it sounds like, right? Obviously, he has tremors. They can see that. They don't have to test for that. But who cares what the name is? So he has tremors. Tremors involve neurological issues. Neurological issues can be treated with drugs, but you can treat them with nutrients too. The B complex, your ultimate EFAs, magnesium, selenium, working on digestive health. All of these can help you non-pharmacologically to deal with tremors. Activating the parasympathetic nervous system. I've noticed that people don't have tremors in the bathtub. Why? Because they're relaxed. The muscles are relaxed. So using muscle relaxation strategies, slow, deep rhythmic breathing. You don't need to be medicalized for tremors. Now, if you have a tumor or you have some kind of damage, that's different. But for most people, that's not the case. For most people, it's a chronic degenerative condition where the neurological system just breaks down over time.
She's had infections in her youth, this person.
It could have been infection. There may be an infectious connection to it, but in the long, infection should resolve. When people have things like chronic Lyme disease or long COVID, that's a problem that transcends the original infectious agent because infections should resolve. If you have something that's an infectious and that doesn't resolve, that implicates some secondary biological problem that's keeping the resolution from occurring, that's keeping the body from healing. And that's what you want to address.
It's interesting though, this whole question, they're only asking about alternatives to diagnose. They didn't ask us what can they do to help resolve the issue. They're just concerned about identifying the issue. I guess the assumption is we're going to use the medical model.
Once you identify the issue. Listen, let me tell you something, and I have to go after this. Every single chronic degenerative disease, if it's chronic, that means it happens all the time. It doesn't go away, as opposed to acute, where something happens and then it goes away. If it's chronic and it's degenerative, they are all reversible. You do not have to be condemned to a chronic degenerative disease. You have to do some identification. You got to do the triangulation, the triangle of disease. You got to find multiple points. You got to do a little bit of work, but they're all resolvable. They're an aberration. The body is a healing system. We are the descendants of ancestors who healed. That's how they survived, and we're their descendants. So healing's built in. If you're not healing, something's blocking the process, and that's what you got to do. Is you got to figure out what's blocking the process. The blockage could be affirmative. In other words, you're putting something into the system that's causing blocking, or it could be negative in the sense that something's missing, or it could be a combination of both. That's all. Just figure it out. It's not medical. Medical's when you get hit by a car. There's nothing I can do with nutritional supplementation to keep you from your bones from breaking if you get hit by a car, if you get hit by a rock or whatever it is. We can accelerate the healing process, but the repair has to occur medically, and God bless the doctors for doing that. But when it comes to biochemistry, metabolism, how the body really works, that is not a medical issue. It's a lifestyle issue. And just believe. First you have to believe. Then you have to be willing to do what it takes. If you believe and you're willing to do what it takes, we have the tools for you. We can help you. We can help you with the know-how, and we can help you with the hardware. So see your longevity rep. And if you like this kind of stuff, become a distributor. Help other people. Make some money too, but help other people. You'll have yourself a business where you're making the world a better place. And that's my pitch for today. So have a wonderful day, Marilyn and AJ and Albert and Ruth Ellen, and say hi to Becca, and I am going to motivate.
Thank you very much, Pharmacist Ben. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. So if I can get my co-host to join me on the screen, that would be awesome. And that was a very good episode of Pharmacist Friday. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Again, this program was for educational purposes only and not meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any diseases. And this program was sponsored by Daily with Doc and Becca. dailywithdoc.com. Sorry. And also, if your question did not get answered, or if you're interested in what Pharmacist Ben said at the end, you can email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com, and we can help you either with your health question or find out a way to build a business and help other people. Also, if you'd like to be a certified holistic health coach, you can go to coach.dailywithdoc.com and become a certified holistic health coach. And if you need to talk to a certified holistic health coach, you can call 855-949-3377 AJ. No, just a phone number, AJ. You have your hand up?
I do have my hand up because I see a number of people on YouTube asking a similar question, which is, how do we contact you? How do we order product? I just want you to just tell them again, if they need anything, how they can reach us.
Okay. I'll say it slower too, because I talk fast sometimes. All right. So if you would like to talk to us on the phone, you can call 855-949-3377, and anyone who answers the phone can help you. If you're already a distributor or customer, we can still help you and support you with information, but you will need to stay where you are at with the person you're with, but we are here to help you. Also, you can email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. Did I get it all? Okay. Yes, thank you so much. And I'm sorry, I'll try to remember to talk slower. At the end, I tend to rush, and I shouldn't do that. So also, I want to give a shout out to Becca Dukes. We love you and we miss you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see you back next week. And if not, we got your back. So we have Albert, who is our gatekeeper and is in South Africa. So it is late at night for him. So thank you for all that you do. And in the middle of the night for us in the USA and on our time zones, if you call in the middle of the night, Albert will help you, and he will be answering the phone. And he's just a valuable member of the team and a true gentleman. And then we have Marilyn, who is Miss Speedy Fingers and is helping here, doing dictation in Zoom. And it is a real benefit if you join us on the Zoom to be able to take a screenshot of something that you missed. Somebody said it too fast, or you just want to review it later. And also, we're just so grateful for you, Marilyn. Thank you for all you do. And then we have AJ, our digital marketing director, who is responsible for helping us all expand on what we had before, because we were out there, but he's helped us get farther out there. You're feisty. Anyway, thank you so much for all that you do, AJ. And I want you all to have a beautiful weekend. And please remember to be kind and respectful of others, and enjoy your lives and be healthy and just grow as a person. Just always strive to learn more and grow. So thank you, everybody. We will see you next week, and bye for now. Have a beautiful weekend.
is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor.